Well, welcome. You're tuned in to A Watchman's Journal, and I'm Diana Larkin. Thanks for joining me, all those who jump on the live stream, and thank you to all of you who will listen later at some point as we go over the prophetic words that I've heard from the Father in my journal. We have some impacting ones this week. Our episode is titled, They Are Exposing Themselves. And that is indeed happening in real time. We're seeing it in little clips and in newsrooms, and quite interesting. I love that the Father's words are beginning to pick up when they're fulfilled. It's happening faster and faster. Hi to New Zealand jumped on. We have Georgia, Indiana, Massachusetts, from ENC. What's ENC, honey? Well, and the UK has jumped on, Pennsylvania, Missouri, New York, Florida, Tennessee. You guys are awesome. Germany, love you. Malawi, love you too. South Carolina, California, my home for 35 years. Love you guys. Ohio, Delaware, another New Zealand, Canada, our beautiful neighbors, Texas, and North Carolina. And by the way, I went to vote today. Sorry, I'm backwards in this, so I don't know where I am. There we go. I voted today. My husband and I went to our local polling place, and we just had some local elections here in our state, but we all know how important those local positions are. It's from the bottom up to the top that reform is needed. So, but a very delightful thing happened. I ran into someone who is one of my listeners, and she actually lives very close to me. I had no idea that, someone that close was listening and part of the praying army of light. So that was really fun to discover her. And she actually gave me a testimony a couple of years ago. She wrote in to us, asked us to pray. She needed a miracle, and she got it. So it was really fun. She even showed me a picture of the miracle fulfilled. So that was very, very exciting and so fun just to connect with someone that's close by. That's was a real blessing. So, all right, got quite a few of you jumping on. So I think we will get started because we have got a lot of ground to cover. I will save, we've got some confirmations, and I will save those for the end. And they're just really a blessing because our Father cares about us so, so much. He wants us to know what is going on, and He wants us partnered with Him, which is such a wonder. I mean, it's kind of like when your kids were 3 and the little boy wants to help his dad wash the car, and he makes more work than he helps. But it's how we learn, and you delight to do that with your children, and the Father even more with us. So we're going to start this series or this episode, which is They Are Exposing Themselves, with an October 28th, 2025 message called The School of the Heart. This is one of those messages that warms your heart, and it just validates something in your own life when he shares on a level like this, because we so often judge everything by human values, and he does not. So let's read this one as we finish out our words for October, and of course we'll begin with November. Welcome to the new month, the 11th month of the year. That number for transition, the prophetic, for disorder and disintegration coming together again in either 10 or 12, which is really cool. So here we go with the school of the heart. The world values education and degrees as the standard for someone who can be looked up to for knowledge and expertise. Sadly, this kind of learning is often man centered and leaves out the higher learning of the spirit realm. I value the school of the heart. That is a life that is spent on pursuing my heart, my ways, and my wisdom. Even so called seminaries and schools of theology have drifted into elevating the mind and pride of man instead of seeking the spirit of truth in humility. I prefer the school of the heart, where I walk with a person through their life circumstances and experiences, and I reveal to them my heart, my deep love, and my ways that are so much higher than man's ways. In the school of the heart, I use your life circumstances to teach you how to forgive, how to be healed from the wounds and trauma of living in a fallen world. Did I do that? How to forgive and how to be healed from the wounds and trauma of living in a fallen world. Those are the two keys to being healthy spiritually, is learning to forgive those who have offended and wounded you, and learning to bring those wounds and trauma and have them healed, because that's the Father's heart. That's why Jesus came. He said the school of the heart is only entered into through the blood of my Son and through giving your life back to him in gratefulness and love. Then you yield your heart to the Holy Spirit, and he transforms your weaknesses into strengths, your bondages into freedom, and your losses into great gain. Trying to keep outward rules that make you look good will result in your heart being untouched by my supernatural power and love. You can live an outward religious life and be committing gross sin behind closed doors. It is so much better to surrender to the school of the heart, where you are changed from the inside out, because you will begin to shine and reflect my heart and ways to all those whose lives you touch. You may think you're a lesser believer because you haven't received a degree that the world values, but I tell you that heaven values and will promote those who have submitted to the school of the heart and who have been transformed into my image. I say that you are graduating with honors. So, congratulations to all of you in the Army of Light. You are graduating with honors. So Pam wrote to say how this word impacted her and served as a confirmation. What she was hearing from the Lord, she is sensing him completely changing her area of work from one of the 7 mountains of influence to other mountains of influence. And so she had been pondering going back to school and getting a degree, but she felt like the Lord said to her, "You don't need a degree. I'm your degree." I loved that. Thank you for sharing that, Pam. That was beautiful. All right, we're going to go back to October 28th of 2022, 3 years ago, to a journal nugget. And this one is very, very powerful. It was a proclamation from him. And it's, "You will know that I am God." If you've ever read through the book of Ezekiel, that's like every other sentence. It's God does what he does because he wants you to know that he is God. That influences everything in our lives and becomes our foundation for success, for confidence, and healing, for salvation, for deliverance. Everything that we think about God is what determines our life and our choices. It's very important that we view the Father's heart in accurately and not with all the things that man has dumped on it, even bad theological teaching, or your own earthly father who failed you in many ways. And that you don't even realize it, but you're looking at God through that lens. That's why it's important to forgive and to be healed, because then that lens gets destroyed and you begin to see who He really is. He is for you. He is not waiting for you to do everything right and then He'll answer your prayers. That is a warped sense of who the Father is. He delights in you. He rejoices every time you turn your face to Him. He is patient. He will wait for you to grow into your calling and your knowledge of Him. He just invites you to keep coming closer. All right, so you will know that I am God. When the shining fulfillment of my promises to you and your nation come to pass, you will know that I am God. When you see the evil empire fall, crushed, their power broken, you will know that I am God. When you see trials, imprisonments, and death sentences, you will know that I am God. When you see my kingdom and my glory fall in your midst, bringing healing, deliverance, and restoration, then you will know that I am God. When the wealth of the wicked is given to the righteous, and you see debt canceled and abundance released, then you will know that I am God. When you see leaders who partner with darkness and who are illegally in their positions of power across all 7 mountains of culture be removed and their evil platforms demolished, then you will know that I am God. When you see righteous leaders raised up, those who have been prepared for this very day and put into place as reformers, you will know that I am God. Blessed are you who do not yet see these fulfillments, but who take me at my word and already see the fulfillments with the eyes of their spirit. Your reward will be great. That is an encouraging word to us. And this next one is too, October 29th, 2025. It's called On the Brink. So picture somebody on the edge of the cliff. He said there are so many areas that are now on the brink of being fulfilled. Those partnered with lies and evil are on the brink of the precipice. And they are so distracted with self preservation and with destroying the light that they are clueless how close to the edge of destruction they are. My season of lost my place, sorry. My season of justice is on the brink of being released as the tsunami I have promised you. Okay, pay attention to this. Do not be discouraged if lower court judges treat the cases against the liars and traitors lightly, because I am just exposing the deep corruption and bribery in the judiciary. Because I've just had a sense that some of the cases we've so longed to see prosecuted are going to go nowhere, and we should not be discouraged because they have not been brought up on the serious charges that they really need to be anyway. It's kind of like they're putting out fishing lines to grab all the bribed and corrupt judges and expose them. They're not going to get away with what they have done. The Father said, you will see true justice prevail against those whose greed for wealth and power led them to sell out your nation to your enemies. Financial freedom is on the brink of being released. Behind the scenes, so many levers of power have been removed. So many illegitimate money laundering schemes have been halted, and the ties between world control centers of money and wealth have been severed. My right arm of power has been behind pushing every evil scheme until it is on the brink of exposure. The justice phase of the rescue of the ages is being propelled forward by my righteousness, and it is on the brink of being fully released. We are on the brink of so much fulfillment of my promises, and I am asking you to stand tall and strong and to declare a completion to this powerful rescue operation. This is a joint operation of my power, my forces of light. Now, if you don't know what the forces of light are, they are the armies of heaven and the army of light, the earthly ones partnered together. He said, so it's my power, my forces of light, patriots, and the military. Call forth a unity of purpose and plan in this convergence of the spiritual and the natural realms. Declare that the lawless liars will be pushed over the edge of the brink. Decree that the tsunami of my justice would be released and call in the era of corrupt financial systems being pulled down and financial freedom and abundance being established. I am telling you that everything is on the brink of fulfillment. All right, we're going to go October 29th again, back 3 years to a journal nugget, the power of my voice. This is it's just a beautiful entry. And it really is a take on Psalm. Let's see, let me make sure I have the right Psalm here. Psalm 29, which is one of my favorites. And this is called The Power of My Voice. And it's going to talk about frequencies because our world is run by frequencies. We are run by frequencies. We have electrical impulses that go all throughout our body, make our heart beat, and cause us to breathe. And it's just a word that we haven't used a lot in Christianity, but it's one that we need to start using because it's a reality. And we can't let when the new age or when darkness has co-opted a word and stay away from it because they belong to God. The darkness cannot create anything. They only defile and pervert. So we're taking it all back. So he said, the frequencies of my voice caused the creation power that formed the earth in great precision and beauty. The power of my voice can shape mountains and bring a great peace to the heart of man. You will now be a witness to a grand display of the power of my voice being released as a storm against the wicked. The same frequencies that caused a glorious creation will attack and bring down those systems. I lost my place. I'm so wound up in this word. There's so many pictures going off in my head. Sorry. It will bring down those systems and people who are seeking to establish strongholds of darkness and destruction. My frequencies are in perfect harmony, a symphony of life and peace. If you tune to my frequencies, you'll be kept in peace, even in the midst of my frequencies tearing down the darkness. Wow. I am coming as a powerful storm of lightning and thunder to deal with the attempt of darkness to take control of your lives and of nations around the world. My sky-splitting lightning will reveal all the dark schemes and people, and who they really are will be seen by all. My deep, rumbling thunder will roll across your land as a frequency that smashes strongholds and plans of darkness. Wow. And he has talked about a sound being released during this rescue operation that the world is going to hear. And I think it's one of his frequencies. I don't know about you, but lightning and thunderstorms always bring the presence of the Lord to me. I just feel his power and his majesty in them. So this is going to be a mighty storm that he brings against the darkness. He said, it will flatten leaders as I confront them with my holy power. The landscape of your nation will be changed. It will be a clean slate for my people to build on as they partner with my glory. Remember that the storm is for the wicked and that the power of my voice will destroy them. I am inviting you to weather the storm close to my heart because you will receive my frequencies of peace and rest. You will be ready to step in and help me rebuild on the foundation of my glory. The power of my voice removes darkness and creates beauty and life. Wow. All right. Well, go read Psalm 29 because it will bless you. October 30th, 2025. Our episode title, They Are Exposing Themselves. The darkness is unleashing their storms of destruction and trying to cause damage wherever they can. Oh my goodness, all the bomb threats that have been launched today on this election day, they just have stooped to ridiculous means because they're running out of funds, they're running out of ideas. Yeah, we need your protection, Lord. He said they are like spoiled, petulant children whose toys have been steadily taken away from them until they don't have any left, or many left, he said. I think they still have a few, but not many. Oh, they are angry and vindictive towards those fighting for justice and righteousness and striking out wherever they can. They have grown so accustomed to stealing from you to fulfill their greedy desires, they're deceived into believing that they deserve it. They think their anger and retaliation against the forces of light are entirely justified. That is why you see them blatantly calling for the death of those who have dared to oppose their carefully built evil empire. A few weeks back, he spoke that word. All they have left is hate. And sadly, we're seeing that. He said they're so self-focused and so entitled that they do not realize they are displaying to the world the darkness and hatred in their hearts. As they see their power and wealth slipping away, who they really are is coming through their facades, and they are exposing themselves before all. You have steadily prayed, expose, expose, expose. And this is one of the ways I am letting the world see who the darkness really is. Your prayers have set this up to happen. Well done, he says. They're shooting themselves in the foot, and they don't even realize they're doing it because of their grasping greed and panic at the thought of losing everything. As the storm intensifies, exposures will come from all directions until they are out of weapons, out of funds, and stripped of reputation and positions of power. Do not let their hate-filled words or dark plans cause you to fear, because I am declaring to you that their end is near. When your enemies start exposing themselves, know that it's all over for them. Keep this in your heart. After the storm, the sun will shine. And oh my, we are seeing these exposures. They are happening live. Prominent figures in the last administration, they are lashing out in great anger, poking their finger in people's chests and yelling, and live on air, being handed a note and coming unglued. They are exposing themselves. Let's go back. October 30th, 2024, last year. It's called Stay the Course. This is a very important word to us right now because of the way things are ramping up and because it may have the appearance that we're losing. We're losing ground, we're losing the war. But remember that the Father told us this is part of the trap. If they don't think they are winning, they're not going to do what they need to do to expose totally to the world who they really are. So stay the course. That morning, I found myself in a heavenly place meeting with Elijah and Enoch. They were earnestly speaking to me about the time we are now living through. They said we're on the cusp, the edge of one of the most radical changes in the history of mankind and the earth. They were speaking with great intensity. Elijah with his burning, fiery gaze, and Enoch with his kind but piercing eyes. They wanted me to realize that we must stay engaged with the Father and determine that we will stay in faith and hope until we see the kingdom age established to the glory of the Father. We are to stay the course until the victory is won and darkness is put under our feet. No matter what comes, stay the course because His promises are true. The Father said, "My faithful remnant, my powerful army of light, the three in one and all of heaven want you to hear and receive this message. Stay the course." Now, what's interesting is I usually hear the Father. He's the one that speaks to me, but this was all three of them. They said, "No matter what comes or how dark it may look, stay the course because my promises are true, and you will see a great victory of light over the darkness, and you will witness the establishment of the kingdom age of peace and plenty. I want you by my side, battling until the dawn of victory breaks through. The victory will be sweet and full when you stay faithful to the end, and your rewards will be great. I stand ready to strengthen you and to provide all your needs. Do not fear the darkness or the already defeated schemes or any threatened lack. You are fighting beside the great I am, the Ancient of Days, and nothing can stand before me of the darkness. No matter what comes, stay the course. My promises are true. And then October 31st, 2025, the first thought I had upon rising that morning was to declare, this is Redemption Day. I like that. Of course, he always countermands anything that the darkness has scheduled. And that's very comforting. But he doesn't want us to focus on the darkness. He wants us to focus on his power, his promises. So he said, don't ever stop displacing the darkness, but that is only part of your assignment. You must replace the defeated darkness with my light, life, and purposes. Jesus won complete victory over the darkness, and he is using his blood to redeem, that is, to buy back all that was stolen, defiled, and occupied by the enemy. Your mandate as the army of light and as sons and daughters is to enforce the victory of my son's blood by living victoriously over sin and self through lives of surrender and the empowerment of my spirit. By faith, you believe you have power over the darkness because Jesus' victory has become your victory. He is in you and you are in him. Jesus also won back the authority over the earth, and you have been delegated that authority over the enemy and all of his works. Time to arise and declare that this is Redemption Day. What better way to greet a day that the darkness has tried to steal? Shine brightly in your love for your Savior, worship him, and express your gratitude for so great a salvation that is now arising to consume the darkness and to sweep many into the kingdom. Decree that the day of evil's rule is done, and its loud voices of deception are being silenced. My spirit will speak into the stillness with conviction of sin, the drawing power of the love displayed on the cross, and the passion and fire of salvation. As my kingdom rule and reign spreads in the hearts of a surrendered people, you will rise up and take back all that has been lost and stolen. Declare this is Redemption Day. Yay. All right, we're going to go October 31st, 2017, a whole 8 years ago, to a word entitled God Has Spoken. And there was a very much a finality to this word, like My word is what counts. My word is what matters. Let me get a drink here. All right, here we go with God has spoken. Isaiah chapters 41 through 46 refer to Cyrus and what he has been anointed and called to do. Powerful parallels to President Trump's mission. Cyrus always wins, strikes fear into the hearts of kings, brings down Bel and Nebo, which were idols, representing those who set themselves up and those who scribe, write, proclaim, perhaps representing government, media, and the academic mountains. So the Father said, when you truly see situations from my perspective, you lose all fear and anxiety, and instead you focus on my great power and my ability to bring reformation to my world. Your part is to intercede according to my promptings, because this gives me the freedom to invade the spheres of influence that I have given to mankind. Idols will fall, mountains will be crushed, and rebellious mouths will be stopped. And I will have my way of true righteousness and justice in your nation. I have spoken, and I will accomplish this. Those who join me will be promoted and will reign with me. The mouth of the Lord has spoken, and it will be done. Wow, that was 8 years ago. He hasn't changed his mind. He hasn't changed his strategy. We're going to win. All right, welcome to November 1st, 2025. Restored beauty. This is a beautiful promise. My beauty has the power to shine through any darkness. That is why, even though darkness has grown in your world for years, you can still find beauty. My beauty is always more powerful than the darkness. The darkness continued to take more and more ground because people believed lies until they began to agree with those who said good was evil and evil was good. These lies infiltrated my church, and lukewarm, apathetic believers allowed the darkness to steal more and more ground until evil ruled all 7 mountains of society. Much of the church hid out in their buildings and hoped that they would be snatched out of the darkness. What a waste of spiritual authority, the force of my love, and the power of true beauty. Shouldn't my people be a reflection of who I am? I never lose, I never lie, and my plan has always been to establish my kingdom on the earth as it is in heaven. If you will join yourself to my story, you will be empowered to defeat, dethrone, and demolish the darkness. As the darkness is overcome by the light, your world will become a different place. Light will flow into every area of society, bringing creativity, abundance, wholeness, and restored beauty. Restored beauty will be everywhere you look, in nature, in cities, in worship, in the faces of children, and in relationships. The daily battles you are fighting will be so worth it when you see beauty restored. Let's go back November 1st, 2020, 5 years ago. This was a journal nugget about seeing the numbers 1111, which I have seen since at least 2011, that I can remember. Maybe if I went back my journals, I'd see even more, but it has been very significant in my life. And not only my life, but around the world, people are seeing 1111. So he said, um, or I'm going to read you what the Father said after I share this part. Have you been seeing the numbers 1111? There are multiple meanings and applications to 1111, such as it represents prophetic, transition, disorder, and chaos. It can also be about the 11th hour. But one of the most profound is this, and I had forgotten this till I revisited this entry. 11/11/2020 was the 400th anniversary of the signing of the Mayflower